Oh, that was quick. My own business. Let's try e4. Sicilian. All right. My own bussiness. It's not business. So he's playing an e6 Sicilian. Could be a Khan or a Taimanov or something else. It transposes into a French defense. A little bit suspicious. They don't usually play this way, so I think there's probably a weakness here. Well, I could give him an isolated queen's pawn. But I think this looks like a Tarrasch defense. I think just developing here with the fianchetto is pretty good against the Tarrasch. If he takes, I can always take back. Queen and knight are defending that square. Is he going to castle queenside or something? How is he going to develop? Yeah, he's going to keep developing until I'm forced to take. I wonder, could I be stubborn here and play c3? Oh, why don't I go ahead and give him the isolated queen's pawn? He seems to want it. That seems to be his plan. So I could, instead of doing c3, which is a normal move to restrain the pawn, I could do knight to c3 with the idea of playing knight to c3 with the idea of playing knight to a4. Might be interesting. My own bussiness. He slammed out those moves very quickly. He was still at 8 minutes, which is what he started with, and there's only a 4-second increment in my time control here. So he made all those moves in less than 4 seconds a move. First 9 moves. And I don't really believe this is a standard position. Okay, he doesn't mind that I exchange off that bishop, so I think that's good for me. And now I'll do the normal move here, which is c3 to restrain the isolated pawn. Restrain, blockade, and then destroy. That's the Nimzovitchian recipe. He still thinks that this pressure on the b pawn is going to be a problem for me, huh? I can put my knight here right away, starting with that blockade, going on from restraining to blockading. The more minor pieces are exchanged, the weaker the d-pawn becomes. He's defending the g-pawn. Yeah, my queen here is hitting the g-pawn. So I guess I want to put my queen... Let's get a rook to the d file first. I wonder, is there some way I could develop this bishop with tempo? I don't want to just move the bishop and have him take that pawn, even if I do get this pawn in exchange. Well, actually, I take that back. If I develop the bishop and he takes the pawn, I'll put the rook here. He can take another pawn, so he's got 2 pawns. But then I grab this pawn, and he's never castling after that. Looks like that could be pretty strong. Now he can move his knight to attack my queen. I should be aware of that. Knight here or knight here. The queen can just drop back. Yeah, let's do that. See if he really... Does he really intend to take the b-pawn? Is that his whole plan? No, he doesn't. Okay. Well, then I can drop my queen back. defending from the side, and then centralize my rooks here. There's going to be a problem in the center before long. I imagine, you know, if I've got the rooks here, his pieces will be pinned against his king, which can't develop, or which can't castle anyway. Can move to f8 to get out of the e-file pins. So the queen came back there. I was thinking maybe he could just push that pawn forward. Maybe he didn't want to risk losing his own b pawn. Or maybe I already had enough force to just take that d pawn. We're getting close. Yeah, his king steps aside. King f8. What a funny move. So I wonder about this. There still might be a problem here. So bishop takes. You can take with the knight or the bishop. Let's see, his queen is a bit loose there. I have an idea. Let's kick that rook and see where it goes. Can't go to c7 and defend the queen. It can go there. Then I can go here. If he pushes the pawn forward, I take it. If he doesn't push the pawn forward, I can take it. And what else is there? If he takes, I'll take the queen. Well, it was just very strange play from black all along. He's got his own system. Maybe that's the name. The meaning of his name, my own bussiness. That's the way he plays, and it's his own business. He's got a pretty good rating for someone who plays such a strange opening style. Maybe he's just experimenting this time too. Sometimes that happens. But maybe this style confuses people, and that's how he wins games. So it's going to let me take that. I take, knight takes, bishop takes, bishop takes. So it's just a trade. Oh, this dark squared bishop, though, that's pretty nice. I'm wondering if there's going to be a fork along this diagonal at the end when the smoke settles. But I guess he can maintain some kind of peace here. Maintain a peace on d5 there. Ah, he doesn't want to... well, maybe he'll take back after I block his bishop, huh? That's possible. So if I play rook takes knight first, you can take either this rook or that rook. Well, no, I can't take this rook because the queen is hanging, so I'll take this rook. Then I could block the bishop out. Does the bishop get trapped, or is it just drops back to f5, or it goes all the way back if the queen takes? And I can take a pawn here. So I get a pawn for the exchange. Is that a good position for me afterwards, though? I don't know. Let's just block out that bishop and see what he does. He takes with the rook. So I'll have to step aside. I think this might not work out for him. I have to be careful where I step. If I step here, the bishop can move with a tempo. I don't want that. So I will place the queen here. His bishop is hanging, and after he takes my rook and I take back, his queen will be hanging, so I'll have two pieces hanging. So he needs to save the bishop now. And he does, so I can take the rook. Put a rook on the d file. I'm still angling to get my dark squared bishop on this diagonal here, looking at his king. Let's see where he wants to go with this queen. Not too many squares. Actually, is the queen kind of trapped? Not really. It can go to c6. It can go over here looking at this pawn. Yeah, he seems to like to look at my pawns. Okay, let's pause to defend a2. I don't see any reason to give it away at the moment. You know, there is a mate threat on the back rank here. How about this? Maybe this is the best way to exploit this position. Bishop here, and I'm hitting the queen, and I'm also threatening rook to d8 mate. Would be fitting. A fitting end to this game. He has two queen checks, but my queen covers this square and my bishop covers this square. So, I mean, my king is exposed there, so got to watch for those counterattacks. But I don't see how he can go anywhere. Well, he can move his queen to d5 there and block the d file that way, but that gives up the queen for a rook. Can't be very good, Mr. My Own Bussiness. Well, I'm glad I found that. I was about to play a different move, so, but this seems to be clearly winning. Just have to you have to take advantage of it when your opponent's king position is so awkward as this. So I should have been looking at his king position first, is what I mean to say. Instead, I was thinking about all these other things like pawns and stuff. I was about to play queen to c2, defending the pawn. Then I noticed that even though his queen was defending d8, well, first I noticed that the rook d8 would deliver mate. I was thinking queen d7. Well, this gives up the queen in a different way. I was thinking queen to d2 rather would kind of hit the queen and threaten mate, but he could just trade to get out of it. So clearly this bishop move was the winning idea here. So well, now we can blockade this file. Let's see. Let's just open up this light squared diagonal here. His king is going to step aside, I guess. And now, you know, this bishop guards against a rook c8 pin. But well, what's the way to break through here? Let's get away from pins. This may seem a bit strange, but I'm trying to angle my queen in on the dark squares. Maybe I can play bishop to e6 next. Yeah, so he stops to defend the knight. Let's attack. Let's attack the knight. If he moves the knight, I'll trade it off. Oh, unless he goes back over here. That's a possibility. But he doesn't. Okay, let's take. Yeah, he has to take with the king. So I was just going to drop my bishop back and lift my king up. Okay, he wants to come in here with check or here with check if I lift my king up. Let's attack his rook. He has the check and the check. I can block with the bishop, and he can't do anything about that because I control this square, so he can't use his bishop to attack my bishop. He can't get to this square or this square. So that should be safe enough. And then after that has happened, he's got to worry about my queen coming in on his back rank there. I guess his last forlorn hope is that I'll be low on time and he'll find I'll make a mistake, which can happen. I can definitely make a mistake here. Have to make some quicker moves to not fall further behind on the clock. So yeah, he wants to try and break through here. I don't want to allow that. Let's take here with check. Let's give a check here. Okay, now let's start moving these pawns forward. I have another idea. Let's give this check and creep in over here. I think I like that a little better. Yeah, especially if he goes there again. He could have gone to g6 a second time if he wanted to, instead of going back to f6. So this pawn can't be defended. He can take the queenside pawns. I don't think they matter in this position. Okay, let's creep in with the queen and the bishop. This looks like a good space. So he's got to put his king somewhere where it defends the bishop. Yeah. And let's bring my bishop in. He can take a pawn. His bishop is pinned. His rook can't go here and can't go here to check me. And is this the simplest way to do it? I think so. He takes, I take, he takes, then check, and I win the rook. When you got the queen on and you have the queen against minor pieces, you look for those checks and you open up the position. Drive the king out to where it's exposed to checks. This is true even if he has more compensation. So now this is defended by the check. This is hanging. So let's take here. Okay, I just wanted to get rid of all his pawns. Simplest thing to do here, I guess, is just get another pawn. I mean, get another queen. Lichess will restart in 7 minutes. Okay, I've got to hurry this up. I don't want it to restart while I'm recording. Maybe I'll do something simple like check here. Take the rook. Oh, I could just take the rook now. I don't have to even check. Where is the king going, though? Let's go in there. So check here. That's the way to do it. Can pre-move. He can have as many pawns as he likes as long as I get the other one. Now his only hope is that the server will go down before the game ends. Let's pre-move. Let's pre-move. Okay, here's the simplest way to do it. Yeah, the king is in a box. He's got 2 moves. And there we go. So nice game. I will upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.